Clearly, the learning should be a schus for all the chayalim, for the chatufim to be returned, and for all of OUisrael to just have shalom in the deepest way of shleimus, of wholeness, of connectiveness. And tonight is that wasn't part of the program. Tonight is wow. 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 Wow, wow, wow. This is really exciting. Yeah, Grosi Yashikoach, Grosi Yashikoach. It should be just for bracha that this is a new home for the women on Monday nights. And if you've never experienced smiles, tonight is not a good time to start. So I'm just going to begin with a disclaimer. This year today is a little bit out there. But it's good to be exposed to different ideas, and every week is very different, because I'm very different. So without any further introduction, this is what we do. For those of you who've never joined me before, never had the pleasure, we take a look at one idea in the Parsha, usually one Rashi, one Medrash, and plummet the depth and see that what meets the eye is not what meets the eye, and there's so much more to learn. And the goal of the learning is to grow, is to change as people. Am I going to have a musical background? What do they say? If you can't beat them, join them, but you do not want me to sing. So we're up a creek. Where was I? Oh, and to see the depth of Torah. And that we often cheat ourselves, that we don't expose ourselves enough to how beautiful Torah is and how deep Torah is. So my friends, I've had enough of an introduction. I hope they told you that I go 4.5 hours. Maybe we'll go 4 tonight. And we'll if you think I'm bad at 8 in the morning, I've been up since 6 this morning. Here we go. Eliezer goes to find a wife for Rivka. We all know the story. He goes to the well. Avraham Avinu sends him on a mission. He goes to the well, and he's standing by the well, and he says, Hashem, if you please do me a favor and bring me this young woman who's going to say drink and have your mates, the camels drink. And sure enough, he finishes speaking, and guess what happens? She arrives. Amazing. Okay, he comes to her house. Right? And he then tells the family, you'll never believe it. Let me explain who I am. I'm Eliezer Eved Avraham. And he doesn't mention his name. He says, I'm an Eved Avraham. Eliezer's name is never mentioned in the whole Parsha, and in this whole section. And he retells the whole story. Okay? Now, let us zoom in retelling the story. We're transporting ourselves back to Haran. You're all with me? We're all by the well. Here goes. Verse 42. It's circled, or you see part of the circle. I came today to the spring. He's retelling the story, right? I said to him, Bastard, perhaps the woman will not follow me. He replied to me, Hashem will be with you. Good. So he's retelling the story, and he says, I came today to the spring and said, Hashem, God of my master Abraham, if you would graciously make successful the way in which I go, behold, I'm standing by the spring, and let it be the young woman, v'chule, v'chule. We know the rest of the story. Now, let's take a look at, I have it in my back of my car, in my back seat of my car, a number. The car is blocking the entrance. It's the only one. That's mine. Let's learn together, my friends. Let's learn. V'avo hayom. I'm in source number 3. Are we together? Okay, great. And I came today, Rashi says the following. Today, can you hear me without the mic? Great. Oh, gosh, you're all on my team. Today I embarked, and today I arrived. Hayom yatzati v'hayom bati. Shekafsa lo haaretz, the earth contracted for him, that his journey was miraculously shortened. What do we call this? Beautiful. Kvitza saderach. I left today and I came today. If you take a look at the Shira on source number 5, how do we learn this? The word hayom is extra. Va'avo hayom elayin. Duh, what day did you come? Obviously you came today. No, I left today and I came today. Further, he says that normally this journey is 17 days. He did it in 3 hours. So don't think it was boom, but it was a shortened journey. And he says one of the ways that you see this at the end of 5 is that Avraham Avinu wrote a contract giving all of his possessions over to Yitzchak Avinu. He signed it. And guess what? The date on the contract was that very day. And further, the Sfarim say, is he brought fruit with him as a gift. If any of you have ever left bananas out, it doesn't become so appealing after a while. And this is not 17 days later, it's 3 hours later, and they were in good condition. So he knew for sure. He's telling them that this was a miracle that happened. So Rashi tells us, Eliezer is hinting at to the people, I want you to know I got here in no time whatsoever. And then Rashi goes on and he says, the Amora Ravacha said, Yafes, Yichatan Shalav de Avos, Lifnei Amakom, Mitarosam Shobanim. You see, the conversation of the patriarchs is more pleasing in front of Hashem than the Torah of the children. Because in the Torah, we sometimes have laws that are hinted at, and here this entire section is repeated twice. Now stop. This should raise another question for us. We're in the middle of his conversation. Where should Rashi have mentioned this? At the beginning, when he says, I am the servant of Abraham, let me tell you the story. Why is it found here in the middle of this conversation, not at the beginning of the conversation? Good. Now, let's go a little bit further, and then we'll ask all of our questions. Eliezer comes back with Rivka. Mazel tov. And source number 2, she said to the slave, who is that man walking in the field toward us? And the slave said, he is my master. She then took the veil and she covered herself. And this is the source of covering the bride before the wedding. It's not Rachel Leah, it's Rivka Imenu covering herself, not our discussion for tonight. The slave told Yitzchak all the things he had done. So Eliezer then tells Yitzchak, I got to tell you everything that happened. And Rashi tells us what happened, source number 4, the miracles that were done for him. Shekavsa lo haaretz, once again, what miracle is mentioned? The contraction of the land, and that Rivka came to him so quickly through his prayer. Now, my friends, we see here Rashi twice in one parsha mentions this miracle of what? Contraction of the land. And we have to understand what that is all about. What is Kvitzas Haaretz all about? But I want to raise a number of questions. So, overall question, what is Kvitzas Haaretz about? Now, it's a more specific question. Source 6. HaKadosh Baruch Hu only does a miracle with somebody when it's necessary. Like take Moshe Rabbeinu, for example. How many miracles did Hashem do for Moshe Rabbeinu personally? Very few. How many for the Jewish people? A lot. So our fundamental question here in the end of 6, why the rush? Wait a few more days. A miracle's only done if it's what? Needed. Is this miracle needed? You don't know yet. That was the right answer. Right? So this is our question. We only do a miracle if it's needed. We don't know if it's needed or not. Second question. The miracle only happened going and not on the way back. Why not? Well, you're answering questions. I want to first what? Ask them. Why not? Why was it needed one way and not the other? Good. And then this is going to be our key question for today. Look at the language of the pasuk in source number 2. The slave told Yitzchak all the things he had done. What bothers you about this phrase? What phrase here? Say it. Okay, you don't like the slave, I get it. Evan. Say it. He had done. Who did it? He did nothing. He did nothing. All the things he had done? Hello. Who did these things? Ribono Shel Olam. That's why Rashi, who's bothered by this, what does Rashi answer? How does Rashi respond to this problem in source number 4? What does Rashi add? What word? Thank you. In his what? In his prayers. Because Rashi's bothered by this. Of course, he didn't do this, so Rashi asked in his prayers. So then I ask, he prayed that the ground should be contracted? Really? Where is that found? I have the prayer that he's davening that what? That Rivka should come. Have I lost you before I've even started? No. Goodbye. Good luck. So let me recap the questions. 1, what is the whole idea of contracting of the land? 2, why did it happen? Why was it necessary? 3, why was it necessary going and not coming back? 4, what does it mean when Eliezer said, look at all the things that I have done, Asher Asa. He didn't do this, Hashem did it. And 5, why is it that Rashi brings this idea that greater is the conversation of the Avdei Avos here and not at the beginning when Eliezer gives his speech? 5 simple questions. We're on the same page. Just the fact that there's so many questions on such a small Rashi just tells you that there's so much what? Here. I told you this year's a little bit more complicated than usual. Give me a second chance. I thought we were starting last week, and it was a perfect introductory shir. But God decided otherwise. Welcome. Here we go. I want to look at this on 3 levels, and on each level to see how we can bring it to what? Our lives. Because if we don't learn for our lives, then we have been limited. What was the greatness of Eliezer? Eliezer recognized that Hashem was the one in charge. Asher Asa is clearly Hashem on level number 1. Forget Rashi right now. Pshat. Asher Asa, look at all the things that Hashem did. And the greatness, as the Dorish Davi points out in source number 8, is that Eliezer thanks Hashem for every single thing that what? That happens to him. He is praising Hashem. He's bowing to Hashem. This is greater is the Sicha of the Avdei Avos. Why is it mentioned here? Because this is the whole essence of what we learn from Eliezer. I appreciate the miracles that Hashem does for me. And that right off the bat is lesson number 1 for us. Why is Rashi highlighting this here? Because our lives are about recognizing miracles that happen. Avraham Avinu sending him and retelling that part of the story, there's nothing to thank Hashem for directly. But when it comes to Vavo Hayom La'ayin, that I came today, that the land contracted, he's emphasizing this in order to show gratitude. And gratitude is something we continuously need to experience in our lives. Now, if we say that level number 1 is that Hashem is doing this, we can now understand Mishchat Shem in source number 9. He brings down, this is Rav Kaufman, V'nei, 3rd line down, Yadu Mesifrei HaMusar Dat Shadam Makir V'Yodea Shekola Pulota Nasopa Olam Nasim Ach V'Rak Eidei Kadosh Baruch Hu. When Eliezer said Asher Asa, he's clearly referring to Hashem. Because everything that happens is coming from the Ribono Shel Olam. And he quotes here an idea from OUisrael Salanter. My friends, if you walk away with nothing else for tonight, I want you to walk away with this and put it in your pocket. This is a great line. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter once went over to a student and said to him, "What's machta? What's up? What's going on in your life?" So the student answered, "Well, this is my business and this is my family," and started answering the question. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter stopped him. Listen to what he said. Double underline. Eini shocha ma hakadosh baruch hu oseh lecha, ela ma ata oseh. I didn't ask you what Hashem was doing for you. I asked what you are doing for Hashem. Is that not gorgeous? Wow. Money, family, all of this is what? Coming from God. What are you doing? Where's your Torah? Where's your mitzvos? Where's your chesed? That's a different question. Isn't that a great line? Can you imagine someone saying to you, you go over to someone and say, what's going on with you? What are you up to? And they start telling you and you stop them and you say, no, I asked what you're doing, not what God is doing for you. And they'll what? Look at you as if you what? I'll tell you, and I've said this many times, I learned this from somebody, a very chashuv person in Boston. When somebody asks me, where are you from? I answer, mitachat kisei hakavod. From under the throne of glory. That's where all of us come from. That's where all of our neshamas are. I get the most interesting reactions to this. I tell girls don't try it on a date, particularly the first one. Unless, right, that's true too. I can just see a boy saying, my soul was there too. We must have been joined together. And you're like, whoa, this is the first date. We really know each other, Right, we'll leave that aside. Let's talk about it on level number one. Let's move a little bit here. Let's talk about Hashem, who is orchestrating this. Obviously, he's orchestrating everything, but Asher Asad is Hashem. Why? We don't know why, but why? What could be a reason why we had to hurry this up? So the Lekach V'Aliba of Rav Shor in source number 10 offers the following. He says, "V'kan kan hayta milchama gedola lotzia neshama shel Rivka imenu, neshama shel acham ha'imahos shayta ben haklipot etolav on Arami shaykoach gadol shel kishuf." Thank you. Ramos v'tuma. Rivka imenu had a very holy soul. She's one of the imahos. She is in the clutches of the greatest sorcerer around. To be able to take out such a holy soul is not so simple. And that's why the language Eliezer uses is hakren nalufanai, as if it's a mikra. Let's try to make things as as happenstance as possible. We don't want to draw attention to the negative forces. And hence he says this is why Avraham Avinu makes him swear. Not because he doesn't trust him, because he knows he's going on an impossible mission. For Lavan and Bethuel to let Rivka out of their clutches is not going to be easy. And the Medrash tells us that, right? They try to poison him, right? Like this isn't just a simple story of let's get this girl out of here. That's why V'lachein in the end of 10, hayat tzarech b'kfitzas haderech, shakol yaseh b'mehirus. Why did it have to happen so quickly? Because we have to get her out ASAP. ASAP stands for? Now, Rav Belsky develops this in source number 11. And he says, 11, 12, 13, he says the following. He says, we find in the arrow in 11 that the morning after they agree, okay, she can go. So Eliezer says, okay, we're ready. And they say, ready where? We're going now. No. Wait 10 months, wait a year. What's the rush? Why? So here Rav Belsky offers something very fascinating. He says, when you take a look at Lavan, who was the master of deception, you watch brilliance. On the one hand, you see the way Lavan speaks, eloquent, right? In Parshat Vayetze, he says to Yaakov, oh, you're my brother. You're going to work for me for free. Oh, please. It's so not nice, right? He talks in such a... We use his speech at the end of 13 by a wedding when we bless the Kala. Achotenu ad hayil alfei revava. That's the bracha we give the Kala that comes from Lavan. His speech, well, that's not tonight's talk. His speech is eloquent. His speech is beautiful. But we know behind his speech is what? Cunning, deception, and trickery. Now, 14, let's learn inside. Lavan's two-faced refinement was precisely the reason why Rivka remained unaffected by his wickedness. Rivka's a young girl, either 3 or 14, and children of that age are naturally influenced by appearances. Rivka noticed her Lavan's refined and highly respectable surface, and with a natural trust of childhood, she took this to be her brother's true personality. Lavan ran to greet a guest. He personally prepared lodging for a perfect stranger. Outwardly, he was a man of kindness, refined, charismatic, and a child doesn't go beneath this. Look at the way Rivka speaks. She learned from Lavan. Stay, Adoni, drink, my master. She has learned this refinement of character from Lavan. What she has not learned from him was what? Deception. The deception. So when Lavan says, I want her to wait a while, why? Say it.
She says no.
She says no, but why does he want her to wait? I've got to finish training her. She's now ripe to learn what's behind what you say. And that's why Eliezer said what? No. We have to get out right and now. So now we can appreciate when Eliezer realized, double underline in 15, the vital importance of concluding the betrothal with the utmost speed, his miraculously shortened journey to Haran impressed upon him the importance of concluding his business there in similar haste. Hashem shortened the way for him, 3 hours instead of 17 days. It was impressing upon Eliezer, get her out as fast as possible. And that's why he insists, let's go now. But there was no rush to do what? To get back. Once she's out of Lavan's house, now you can what? Now you can slow down. 18. Though the journey to Haran was miraculously shortened, the return journey was a regular duration. Eliezer needed the miracle on the way there to literally rescue Rivka from her previous home at precisely the optimum moment in her development. On the way back, however, there's no reason for such haste. In fact, honest spiritual achievement, in this case, entering the holy house of Avinu, must always come with effort. Here, delays and challenges must be faced and overcome instead of avoided. For this reason, Eliezer and Rivka were not granted Kfitza Saderech on the return. What are some lessons we could learn for our lives? Let's highlight a few. One is at the end of 15. A very important lesson is a person should never tolerate a negative influence for even a single moment. Don't stay in a place where you'll encounter temptations or tests of character. It's very easy for people to say, that's not me. It's not going to happen to me. I'm what?
Strong.
I'm strong. I was just talking with a girl today in seminary, and she was telling me that she comes from X environment. The girls that she's friends with are of a little bit different nature. Why? And she says, so if I'm around these girls, so I'm starting to dress a little bit differently than I usually dress. And I'm doing things I don't usually do. I said, I don't get it. She says, don't you get it? If I'm not around the same standard and they're of a little bit of a lesser standard, so I've adapted to them. And I said to her, why don't you have a strength of character to stand up for what you believe is correct and right? Oh, I never thought about that. Oh, maybe you should think about that. Gee, Mrs. Smiles, that was really insightful. Oh, wow. I'm happy to hear that. Okay.
So it says in Pirkei Avos, Eile Rasha, Eile Shechina.
For sure, for sure. Second idea. Source 19, Rav Zaychik. Pasuk says, Vayaratz ha'eved likrata. She runs, and he runs toward her. Why is he running? I get why she's running. Why is he running? And this is the key in the bracket in 19. Elakevan Shira ashekaf saloa aretz. As it says, Hikare na lefanai hayom. Kevan shenasa lo nes. When the miracle happened to him and he realized that Hashem is answering him 1, 2, 3, he realized it's an 8 ratzon, it's a time of favor. And when you have a time of favor, what do? You grab it. Vayaratz ha'eved, he runs. And we know this in our lives. It's very interesting. You see this in the next piece by Yosef Atzadik. He says, go up quickly to my father and bring him down here. It was also an 8 ratzon. This was the first time all the brothers were together, unified on the same page. You have no greater 8 ratzon than this. Grab the opportunity and take Yaakov Avinu down. And this is true for our lives. When we feel like the heavens are open, and we've all had experiences like this, one thing after another just seems to fit into place, and things are just on a certain momentum, at that time, don't say, well, things are looking good, I think I'll take a break and just sit back and, no. Take that momentum and what?
Run with it.
Run with it, move forward. That we have to be attuned to the times we're living in. And that's in general. Sometimes, in retrospect, we say, I should have. Our challenge is not to say I should have, but I'll do it right now. I'm going to grab the opportunity. I will make mention, and this brings me to the next page, if I can find it. I don't know. I can't turn pages anymore. Is source number 20. The Chazon Ish and the Stipler both said, this is fascinating. I'm in the bracket in 20. When it comes to shidduchim, we may not delay. If someone suggests an idea for a shidduch, one must look into it immediately, because now may be the auspicious time for this shidduch to come through, which is a very fascinating idea here, that someone suggests a shidduch for somebody you know, for a child, grandchild, yourselves. Instead of saying, oh, okay, I'll look into it tomorrow, the next day, make a phone call right now. Because you never know, why was this given to you when? Now. And that's true not only of shidduchim, generally in life. When something, an opportunity comes your way,
Grab it.
it's not by accident. It's not by accident. Let me put this in English. Sometimes we are so busy that we just allow these opportunities to what?
Pass us by.
And then I have a little secret to tell you. Not only do the opportunities pass us by, but something else passes us by, and that is, say it. Who said it? Life. Life. Life passes us by. And then we reach a certain age and we say,
Oy.
some people say oi, and some people say oi vey. And if you're going to say oy vey, then that's really what? Oy vey. So my friends, idea number 1 was pretty clear. Who is Asher Asa? The Ribono Shel Olam. What's up with you? It's what you're doing, not what the Ribono Shel Olam is doing. Ribono Shel Olam needed to take Rivka out ASAP because it was such a bad spiritual environment. She was in the clutches of the greatest evil. We have to take her out right away, and then we have time to bring her back home. Grab opportunities that come our way. That was a summation of level number 1. Level number 2. Who are we talking about? We're talking about Eliezer. Eliezer, source number 2. The Ishtami notes, when Rashi says Shira, he emphasizes b'tfilaso because Eliezer davened for these things, they happen to him. Kasher adam mitpalel kahogen, when a person davens, it's as if they are involved in doing this thing. It's Hashem, right. But the tefillah, the prayers, is what affects what happens. You know where you see this in the next source? The Pasuk says, V'adam ayin lavodat avdama. Man was not around to work the ground. And Rashi tells us because there was no man to daven. I would think working the ground is hoeing, planting, sowing. I don't know what they do to the ground. I don't get it. No. You know what really working the ground is? Davening. And that's really a metaphor for our lives. We think in our lives that we're accomplishing. The only barometer of success, and the only part of success we really have, is the tefillah we put in before we do anything. And that's really a yesod, a fundamental principle for our lives. Again, we're trying to bring this down to our lives before embarking on any type of project. Daven. I'll tell you personally that at the end of Shemona Esrei, before we take 3 steps back, are you with me right there at that moment? Right, we say a pasuk with our name in it, and when we daven for personal things that whatever we need, right, we daven for OUIsrael. Good. Personally, I go through my entire day the way I envision it. Obviously, there are surprises. We all have surprises. But I go through, I'm talking about my entire day, making, very quickly, yeah? From breakfast to buying gas to, I go through the entire day. And I ask Hashem, please help me through each part of the day. What does this do for me? It reminds me that whatever I'm about to do today, driving, teaching, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. It's not me. I need what? I need siyata d'shmaya. I need help from above. And it just, am I making any sense? Orients my day, and we're in partnership. But I can't do it alone. Eliezer is the prime example of somebody who doesn't take credit for himself. And that's why when we say great is the Sikha of the Avdei Avos, source 21, Rav Schwab, Eliezer's speech was so beautiful to Hashem. Why? Because he doesn't focus on himself. He focuses on, he is a servant of Avraham Avinu. And he speaks about this, but it's never explicitly spelled out. He didn't boast. He had the humility. And that's what we say, that this is what's so beloved to Ribono Shel Olam. And throughout, 25 through 27, throughout his speech, he recognizes that I am an Eved Avraham Anochi. It's not about me. It's about my relationship with Avraham Avinu. But let's take this further. When we say Asher Asa, and Rashi says, source 28, Tfilaso, in his tefillah. So let's try to examine this a little bit deeper, my friends. Notes Rav writes the following. If generally a person is told, okay, I want you to go find a wife. Now, we all know that Eliezer had a personal stake here. He wanted what? He wanted his daughter to be married. Right, so if I were Eliezer, I would come to the well and stand here like this. And if a girl would come, great. And if no girl came, then what? You know what? I tried. Eliezer doesn't do that. He comes to the well, and the first thing he does is what? Daven. What does this davening teach us? In the squiggly, which is half a squiggly, in 28. L'fichach lo yistapek b'milui yavesh achararo. He's not following just, protocol but rather ela aman b'tfilah v'shichut latzliach. He wanted to be successful. He's davening for success. He's not trying to get out of this. That quality of Eliezer, the ability of trying to fulfill the will of his master. It's not about him. His name isn't mentioned. In this case, Eved is like the highest accolade. We have this Moshe Rabbeinu who's called an Eved Hashem. It's not about him. He has the quality of bittul. It's about, I want this to work for my master. His tefillah is a heartfelt tefillah that Hashem responds to. Good. Okay, my friends, now we put our seatbelts on and we're going to climb into the air, because I have not spoken really about this contraction of the land. All I've mentioned is Hashem wanted him to get there fast, so he had it happen fast. My friends, sit back. It's a little bit complicated. Okay, it's a lot complicated. And we're going to do this, and I generally don't. So if this is the first time you've ever met me, give me a second chance. Maybe even a third. But it's fast, not but negates what I just said. And it is very fascinating at the same time. Listen closely. I get it. Eliezer davens that this should be a girl. Perfect. Where does Eliezer daven that the land should what? Contract. We don't see it, but that doesn't mean it's not there. So if it's not there, and Rashi says that the miracle happened b'tfilaso in his tefillah, so it must be there, and now we have to what? We have to find it. Are you ready? Let's go. We're entering into Kabbalistic Hasidic Torah. Source 32. Same page, bottom of the page. The Kushner Maggid asked the following question. Did the land come to him, or did he come to the land? Do you hear the difference? What did you say? So I understand. It did. You are right. Because it says kafsa lo haaretz, not kafsa ha derech. We're talking about the aretz, the land. Let's understand. Yeah, good. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. You're doing great. Do you want to teach 7 o'clock next week? Yeah. So I want to share with you the following. The Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh says that in this pasuk, Va'avo hayom el ha'ayin, and I came today to the well. I'm in double squiggle in 32. The Rashi Tevot are the first letters of this, spells out the name, the holy name of God that contracts the land. So, Va'avo hayom el ha'ayin, Va'avo begins with a vav. We don't use the letter hey. My husband said if I would say it the way it is, I would create terrible challenges in the world, spiritually. So I'm going to use the word kuf instead of hey. Vav hayom kuf, el aleph, ha'ayin kuf. Right? The kuf is really a hey. That is the name of God that contracts the land. Now, where is this coming from? So I'll tell you. Work with me. When Hashem created the world, the pasuk says, "Breshit bara Elokim et aleph hashamayim hey ve'et vav haaretz hey." Same letters, except it's in a different order. Our pasuk is vav kuf aleph kuf, and Breshit bara is aleph kuf vav kuf. Now, what is going on here? So far, so good. I flipped the page. Where did Eliezer learn this name of Kvitzas Haaretz? Well, I'll tell you. 33. When Avraham Avinu speaks to him, he says, and I made you swear by Hashem. I'm in the bracket in 33, third line down. Elokei Hashamayim, Aleph Kuf, ve'elokei Haaretz, Vav Kuf. Same letters. So you think we're having conversations here, and that's what it means. Yafei, Sichatam Shalavot, Avdei Avot, Mitorasam Shabanim. The secret names that the Avdei Avos are speaking is not found in the Torah of the what? Of the children. Hence, this is where Rashi what? Inserts this idea. Because we're not just talking about coming to the well today. We're talking about the deepest name of God that created the world. And the world was created through what? Some contraction. And it allows us, a person, to contract the ground. Now, work with me slowly. This name of Hashem, and we have to talk about why Eliezer switches it, I get it, is the name of Hashem that's referred to as the name of dat, of knowledge. This name takes knowledge, chibur, and connection. And that explains, just parenthetically, 34, for those who are familiar, Yaakov Avinu also has the ground contract. Remember, he goes to Haran, and then he says, Oy Gewalt! I passed by the place of my forefathers davened, and then I didn't what? Daven there, and the language that Chazal use in the arrow in 34 is Kad Yahav Daite Lemahadar. He put his mind, Daite, to return. He used the secret of that. Vav Kuf Aleph Kuf. Let's do this outside because it's complex. There are two ways that Hashem creates the world. There's the way of Teva, which is a natural order, and then there's what we call the Malamina Teva, the what? The miraculous, Teva Chacham, above and beyond. Our challenge in this world, let's go to 36, is B'chol ma sheyeneh b'olam hazeh lo yechavei lahanato. Our challenge as the Shulchan Aruch is whenever you gain pleasure in this world, it's not about you. It's about serving Hashem. From what pasuk do we know this? Bechol drachecha, in all of your ways, da'ehu, know God. What is our job? Our job is, in 37, is to take et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. I take the heavens and I have it connected with what? The ground. When I have heaven and earth connected together, I've created a different dimension than a person who is just living on earth separate from heaven. And in fact, the Shira Pinchas, which is all come from Pinchas Friedman, a little bit of Bell's Torah, says the following. When a person is involved in doing whatever they're doing, even if they I'm doing it for Hashem's sake, most of the time it's really not so much for Hashem's sake as much as what? For their own sake. So then the ground says, I don't need to really work with you because it's really about what? You. But when a person says, it's not about me at all, et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, I am connecting heaven and earth together. At that moment, the ground says, I'm going to help you out. The ground contracts as a result of a person's desire to do the will of God, and Hashem is helping them and enabling them to be successful in a more expedite fashion. So what does it mean that Eliezer davened? By saying, Va'avo hayom ela'ayin, I came today to the well, he's saying, I use this focus of completely dedicated to doing my job. My name isn't even mentioned. It's not about me. It's all about doing the will of God. And his tefillah was answered, and what happened? The ground came to him. The ground, kafsa lo haaretz. Now, I want to make mention here, and this is a great FYI. You know what FYI is? 39. The Rashi Tevot of Vav, Kuf, Vav, Aleph, Kuf, the two Hay's spelled is 10. The Vav is 6. 10 and 6 is 16. The Aleph is what? 1. 16 plus 1 is 17. 17 is the numerical value of Tov. This name of God of contracting the land is called the name of Tov. It's a name of goodness. This is one of the reasons why the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh has his name. He's the Baal, the master of Shem Tov, of the name of Tov, of Vav Kuf Aleph Kuf. And if you ever learned or read the Baal Shem Tov stories, one of the things you know about the Baal Shem Tov is he's always what? In one place, and then the next minute he's Minsk to Pinsk to Rinsk to I don't know what they are in Poland there. And he's all over the place. And you almost, when you know what I'm talking about? When you look at these stories, you're saying like, what's going on here? It's a literal Baal Shem Tov. He is the master of this name, a kvitzat. Isn't that fascinating? That was worth coming out tonight. I don't know about much else. Now, practically for us, because I got to get moving here, because I'm still the third level, practically for us, there's a sefer that someone here actually gifted me with, and I think you should gift yourselves with. It's called Kasher Tziva Hashem by Rabbi Daniel Garfinkel. Apparently, Sarah Yocheved Rigler is coming out for one specific to women, Kach Shamati. And that is, throughout our day, we should connect Shamayim and Aretz, which means, I'm reading 40, aware of the countless opportunities to do mitzvahs and take advantage of them by having kavanah for each one. Even while busy with work or errands, a person can have the mindset, I'm doing the will of God. I'm making dinner, it's a chesed for my family. I'm pairing socks, it's a chesed for my family. It turns the socks into what? Yeah, it's a mitzvah opportunity. An example, a man who owns a bakery can prepare bread solely as means to earn money, or he can do chesed by supplying bread. A doctor with his patients, and a grocer with his customers, every profession. By adding kavanah to the actions they're already doing, people can merit hundreds of even thousands of mitzvahs every day. You put on a seatbelt, I'm doing the mitzvah of guarding your soul. You're driving to work, I'm doing the mitzvah of going to every part of your day. Is connecting Shamayim and Aretz. Now, I am not telling you that you're going to have Kvitzas Haderech. It didn't work. I still had the traffic from Ramat Beit Shemesh to here. At the same time, you will find Siyata Dishmaya. You will find help from above because you're linking yourself with Hashem. It's not just about me. And that's our goal for our lives. And that's why the Rabbi Victor Miller says that when we speak about Rachmana Liba Bai, Hashem wants our heart. Liba is really our thoughts. That's what he wants. He wants that. He wants me to think about what I'm doing. We call this in modern day psychology, mindfulness, yeah, the buzzword of today. Let me give one example, then I want to move on. You get up and get somebody a glass of water. It could be a glass of water. You think in your head, I want to do a chesed that Hashem said, the mitzvah, v'ahavta recha kamocha. That glass of water is yours for eternity. We can create eternity with our day. But not once a day, not 3 times a day, but thousands of times a day. I go to sleep in order to be able to wake up tomorrow to serve you. OMG, 8 hours of sleep. 8 times 60 minutes is 8 times 60 is 400. I don't know. Are you following me? I don't know the math. Okay, now my friends, I want to take this deeper. Are you with me? So I'm almost there. So on level number 1, Asher Asa, it's Ribono Shalom. He had to get Rivka out of there as soon as possible. Our lesson, grab opportunities when they come. Good. Level number 2, it's Eliezer. Eliezer is one who davens. He doesn't take his mission lightly. He is a model for us of somebody who's able to step outside of self to do the will of God. Eliezer is also somebody who has taught us the great value of this name, Et Hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Our lives are about taking heaven and earth together and being able to what? Combine them together. That our lives, and this is for us, we can't maybe be the Baal Shem Tov, but we can have more of a consciousness of putting heaven and earth together. And we have, I can't tell you, between now and the time you go home tonight, you will see a zillion opportunity. Hold the door open for someone, give someone a ride. You have so many opportunities you can't even imagine of connecting heaven and earth. So now, my friends, here comes the question. I'm going to talk faster, and here goes. Eliezer doesn't do it in order of Et Hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz. He first puts ve'et ha'aretz, va'vo hayom, ve'et ha'aretz, before Et Hashamayim. Why does he move it around? Why does he put earth before heaven? And I want to share with you an absolutely stupendous Al-Shech HaKadosh in 42. The end of the first paragraph in 42 tells us the following. Hey, Hashem Lekech Hashemayim, Hashem has the heaven. U'shmei Hashemayim, and the heavens, the upper heavens. Ha'aretz, the land, v'chol Sheba, and everything in the land. Well, hold on a second. That does not make sense. If Hashem has the heavens, so then it should be, first Hashem has the upper heavens, the heavens, and the ground. Or ground, heaven, and upper heaven. But to say heaven, upper heaven, ground, like, hello, says the Al-Shech HaKadosh, absolutely fantastic. When Hashem gave the Torah, at that moment, the ground became higher than what? The upper heavens. The upper heavens. You have the Shamayim, the heavens, the Shmei HaShamayim, the upper heavens, and then what is even above that? Ha'aretz. The ground is even higher. And that's what it means, that the sichos of the Avdei Avos, before the Torah was given, Eliezer was able to tap into this reality. Focus first on the Aretz. This is where Hashem is found. And that's the deeper understanding of Kafsa Lo Haaretz. The ground jumped to him. What does that mean? He understood the primacy of the ground in the relationship with Hashem. We are not here as, well, I'd rather be in heaven and this is second choice. No. The optimum place to be is where? Here. Down here. Now, I'm almost finished, my friends. If there was one place on earth, I get it. The Torah's down here, we serve Hashem, great. If there's one place down here that one feels the Kedusha of Hashem present in our lives, which place is that? Very good. Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael is source 46. The practical world is part of our divine service. We live in Hashem's land, and our entire lives are His home. We're always connected to Him, even the physical aspects of life. I have an orange tree in my backyard. I just can't pick oranges. What do I have to do? Truma Meiser. But we live with Hashem. That's the beauty of Eretz Yisrael. You remind, you know what I say? Even in the stores. You know, lahavdil elef alfei havdalos. You go to America at this time of year. What do they have in the stores? Well, we just finished which color? In October? Orange. And now we've entered which colors? Red and green. Okay, I'm not being very, very vague here. You go to Eretz Yisrael, soon the sufganiyot are coming out. And then you have the dried fruit are coming out. And then you have the mishloach manot. And then the worst part is when they have the cleaning material come out. That I know, like, I'm finished. I forgot the Homentashen. Yeah. What a place to be in. You feel the what? You feel the Kedusha and the whole cycle. We're living in a different dimension here. Now here's the key. Says the Sfas Emes in 47:48. when Eliezer came to Haran, what does Kafsa lo haaretz mean? Eretz Yisrael came with him. He brought Eretz Yisrael with him. When Lavan, this is Fasemis, when Lavan sees Eliezer, he says, Bo Baruch Hashem, he leaves from being someone cursed to someone blessed, because Lavan saw Eretz Yisrael with him. Kafsa lo haaretz doesn't mean that the land contracted, which it may have, but it means the land jumped with him. That Eliezer wasn't just coming himself, he's coming with the Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael with him. This, 49, and we're 50, and we're out of here. And that is, who is Asher Asa? So we have Hashem as option 1. Option number 2 is Eliezer. Who is option number 3? A person? Which person represented Eretz Yisrael par excellence? Yitzchak Avinu. Eliezer says to Yitzchak, this is all that happened, Asher Asa, to your credit. It was through your tefillah. It was through you, who is the personification of Eretz Yisrael, that all of this happened, that I had the schus of having Rivka come so quickly, that Eretz Yisrael joined with me. I know it's not about me. I know it's in what? It's in your schus. And that's why in 50, the Chasam Sofer, Hashem had hastened Eliezer's journey to Aram by causing earth to fold up under him. Why then did his return trip similarly accelerated? He had gone, let's consider circumstances of Yitzchak Avinu's first meeting with his future wife. He had just gone out to pray in the field. We may presume that his prayers were directed toward finding a wife. It's known that Hashem desires to hear the prayers of tzaddikim. And had Eliezer returned with Rivka any sooner, Hashem would not have had the pleasure of hearing Yitzchak Avinu's tefillos. His tefillos brought him fast to get her. His tefillos brought him Eretz Yisrael with him. But now Hashem said, okay, now that you have him, I want to hear your tefillos what? A little bit more. And that for us is I think, the final lesson for our lives. We've spoken about the importance, I have no idea, but whatever it was, it's probably very important. I'm wiped. We've spoken about the importance of taking the ratzon, the time of favor, and grabbing it. We've also spoken about the humility that we need and the ability, which is part of the humility. It's not about me, connecting heaven and earth and davening that Hashem should help us. And we also have to realize that Hashem wants our tefillos. And that sometimes when we say, well, I've davened and I've davened and I've davened and nothing is happening, so we don't know what is happening. We're so limited in our vision. But the one thing we do know is Hashem appreciates our tefillos. And one should never say, well, no. Hashem said, you know what? I want those 17 days of Tov. I want those 17 days of tefillos. And sometimes Hashem elongates our journeys in life, and things don't happen as quickly as we want. Because Hashem is mit'avel tfilasom shel tzaddikim. All of us are tzaddikim. V'ameh kulam tzaddikim. So we have to recognize that when we're in challenging situations, which is what we're in now, our recourse has to be recognizing Hashem wants our tefillos, Hashem wants us to connect with him, and it's not about us. We have to have the humility to recognize we have to do our part, we have to go out, we have to fight, we have to daven, but ultimately it's Hashem who's leading the way. Ad kan.